Hello guys, welcome here to Out of Turn 4. I'm not by myself this week. So finally you guys don't have to hear my annoying voice the entire 30 minutes. Or more. We'll see what happens. But Zach's here with us from, what was it? What is it? The late night
Friday
show?
night Tinkle.
Friday Night Tinkle. Oh my gosh.
It's not
I
late
had,
night anymore. It's just
I had,
Friday at
I had a brain fart
8 o'clock.
for a second there. But yeah, Friday Night Tinkle with Zach Carmean. It's at 8 p.m. now on
Yeah,
Fridays.
8 p.m. So yeah, it fit better being at 8 o'clock over being a late night. So
Yeah, makes sense. No, go check it out. I'm still in the middle of watching the second episode, so I won't say too much.
the first episode's been deleted. So
Yeah,
the only place you'll find it is on Spotify because I can't delete it and I can't upload anything for some reason. So
yee.
I'm gonna keep working on it. We won't have the second episode on Spotify. This third episode,
Hmm.
hopefully, can get it up, but I'm not sure.
He's been put in Spotify jail, but
Just like you were put into Twitter to jail. So
yeah. Now I'm gonna be put in the doghouse on Twitter. You'll see why in a moment, but or you may see why. Log into your Twitter. Anyway, so it's coming up today. We got some IMSA to talk about. This is a first on the show. Then, of course, we've got the NASCAR race at the Roval. We got some big silly season news. One thing was by far the most surprising bit of news, I think, this week so far. And then, of course, we got the weekend at the worst mile and a half in the history of mile and a halves. So,
yeah,
but anyway, let's get started here with IMSA at VIR. I didn't watch
the
it
wor
this
the
weekend.
worst track there is on IMSA schedule, but it's whatever. Who likes Virginia International Raceway? I don't know people from overseas,
It, it
but
it looks like a test track to me.
it is a test track.
Is
That's the
there
thing. It's literally a test track
is
to just go and race there.
yeah,
It's like Lime Rock, but it's not as cool as
is
what it is.
is there even any grandstands there?
No, not according to Forza, not according to Assetto Corsa, not according to iRacing. There's no
And,
grandstands at that track.
and not according to the editors of NR 2003 that happened to make this track.
Yeah, and also according to Natalie Decker's vlog, there's no grandstands there. So I don't know why they race there, to be completely honest. I think the only reason why they race there is for the market, the Washington, D.C. market, all that over there.
More than likely.
Virginia, yeah, that entire area. Even though they already have Lime Rock, so I don't get the point of going there, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good race, I guess. I mean, it's good for GT racing. I'm so glad that they don't race the LMPs and all the prototypes there because I feel like if they put that all on the track, it's too narrow, too fast. Just imagine all those
Hmm.
LMP cars trying to go around all the GT cars, and I just can't see it. Maybe next year they'll change it from being just a GT challenge because this week was just a GT challenge, so the LMPs didn't race and all
Yeah.
that. Unless you want to call the LMP prototype races anything. I don't care about that. That's the Natalie Decker series. I don't really give a care. Um,
Oh man.
sorry, it's the truth though. But
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, the only series I care about in IMSA is literally, well, the only two I care about are the sports car series and the MX5 Cup, which I haven't been able to watch a lot of that because it's
Yeah.
on Peacock, and I don't want to subscribe to Peacock because I don't ride on that Peacock. But sorry, whoever made the idea to name a streaming platform Peacock. I really want to know who decided that. Like, does anybody know
If
why it's named Peacock?
and we hire marketing geniuses. Just think of that.
It,
Meanwhile, we
it,
got people like me who don't have a marketing bone inside of them. But hey,
yeah, I
um,
don't know.
you know, um, like I said, I've seen the highlights. You showed me a bit of the highlights. There was a bit of
Yes,
NASCAR type racing there, which was shocking.
yeah, that's the
Actually,
thing with
actually, I would lean toward IndyCar because of the fact that they really didn't like flat out wreck each other, but they bumped fenders quite a bit.
and that's what the beauty of IMSA is. So if you don't really like, you said you don't really watch IMSA that much.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't, but I tell you right now, IMSA is probably the best racing there is. To be
yeah.
completely honest, to be blunt, I mean, you just have to
Here's
watch it.
I guess if I'm gonna say it real quick for anyone who might sit here see this link on Facebook, you're probably not even watching this video, but I'm just gonna make this point for those people. Even if if curiosity kills the cat here and they do click the link, IMSA is probably the biggest sport of any auto racing that there is. Okay, I mean, racing is a sport, but this
Yeah,
one is the most sporty of sports, I guess is the way to put it.
it's more sporty than any sport there is. You have to be in a car for multiple hours at a time. Compared, like,
Yep.
NASCAR, you can be in a car for 4 hours. Who cares? You're racing around in circles. These guys are going around on road
Yeah.
courses, going just as fast as the NASCAR would on a oval track around the road course. So,
Yeah.
VIR. I don't know how difficult racing at VIR actually is, since it's a test track that you go test your
I
local
wouldn't either.
Toyota Camry at. But I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure they test the Subarus there. I don't know. That would make sense to test Subarus there because they don't do very well on their the
Hmm.
ness of the vehicle, but longevity. I mean, but
Pretty sure
I don't know.
NASCAR used that as a test track at one point, but
I would
I
be
could be wrong.
surprised. It's When I think of it, I think Forza because it's the only game that this tracks in. So,
Yeah.
um, the Porsche. If you guys didn't see, there was a little bit banging and stuff going on. Uh, there's a picture on IMSA's website. You can find it. It's the first link, I believe, right now.
Yeah.
The three takeaways from the GT Challenge at VIR. There's the picture for it. Is the Porsche going off track because they were banging, and the Corvette literally
Man.
ran him off the track, and he got some air.
Yeah.
He was doing this and that. You're not supposed to do that in a
Say,
GT car.
man, that kind of just reminded me in a way of Jimmy Johnson and Roman Grosjean there at Laguna Seca, just like beating and banging, and I think
That's an
one
Indy
went over
car,
the
though.
other. I mean,
This is a
I
multi-million
know.
dollar car right
Oh, I
here.
know. Yeah. I mean, IMSA and F1 are the two most expensive racing
And that's the
cars
funny
right
thing is
there.
IMSA, you would think it brings in a lot of funding, but it does. It actually brings a lot more funding. I think it actually brings in more funding than NASCAR does. If I believe I've
Oh,
read
I'm sure
something
they
in the
do.
past. It's I don't know. It's just I
More
find it really
opportunities there,
interesting
too.
how he did not break anything on that car when he went off track,
Yeah.
but he went on to I believe win the GTD uh, as well. I believe. One second, I can make sure. Um, no, they did not the 9-1, but they did end up winning, finishing the race. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's all that matters, I guess. But yeah,
Mm,
I just can't wait for the GT just become GT3 because they're getting rid
yep.
of GTD at the end of the year, GT Daytona, and there's gonna merge. I think it's what I've heard. They're merging it, just making GT3. I think that's a better idea
Mm,
because the GTDs are just way too slow compared to the GTLMs. But
yep.
it's whatever. Corvette got the win in GTLM with Nick Tandy and Tommy Milliner. I don't really know names. I just watched them racing
Yeah.
around the track.
The only
And then Lauren,
Yeah, the only
go
name
ahead.
I realized, the only name I recognized when you showed me the highlights was Zach Veach, and Zach Veach did exactly what Zach Veach did in IndyCar.
That's Zach Beach
Back
for you.
marker. Sorry,
I
Zach.
know.
I did meet Zach Veach before. He's a nice guy. It's just I feel bad because he's not that great of a driver.
Maybe he can take a run at NASCAR. It's not that hard. Just
Hey,
ask Danica.
ask Sage Karam. Sage Karam put together a great run this weekend.
As Ferrucci,
Yeah,
except
Ferrucci
he's
as well.
actually this is to say Ferrucci's actually a good driver. I hope he ends up in IMSA next year if he doesn't have a ride in IndyCar. So hopefully we see him in IMSA next year.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
But Lawrence Van Thor and Zachariah Robodic Chogan. I can't, all right, I'm completely butchered that, but
Don't
Platt
ask me to
Motorsports
pronounce
won
it.
and the GTD. Obviously, they do podiums in IMSA, but it doesn't really matter because there's only three GTLM cars and there's like 100 GTD cars, so I don't really care about podiums. I just go by who wins the race.
Yeah,
So I'm so glad NASCAR doesn't have podiums. That's the one thing I prefer NASCAR compared to all the other sports. No podiums.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you have to win the race to actually get a prize. So
Yeah. No, no thanks for playing trophies.
yeah, no thing. Yeah,
Oh, wait, sorry.
exactly.
That's the regular season championship trophy. Oops,
The
sorry.
President Trophy.
Yeah, but anyway, let's actually move on real quick. This is a big weekend in NASCAR at the track that the late Robin Miller hated with the passion,
I'm just
the
gonna say
Charlotte
right
Roval.
now, I hope they get rid of the Charlotte Roval. I think that maybe the Daytona Roval is a better fit if they
Uh,
want to race on a Roval. In my personal opinion, maybe we can just get rid of Texas and make it a Roval race. What about that?
I've seen the Texas road course. It's not that great, honestly.
Uh,
You could turn Texas Motor Speedway into a figure eight, and it would
what
still
about we
be a
make
bad track.
Pocono? We give Pocono another race date. We go on the Pocono Roval. What about that?
That wouldn't be a terrible idea, but there's no banking on that road course on the infield.
Or we can go to New Hampshire and have a little short track Roval action.
How's about the Homestead Roval?
I mean that it's not that bad. I don't really like it. It reminds me of Vegas,
Yeah,
but Vegas doesn't have like the Vegas Roval is really stupid.
yeah.
It may be the dumbest Roval
See,
there is. You go off, all right, so according to NR 2003, I don't know how accurate this is, obviously, because NR 2003. But you go off the baking into turn one and you drive race on the apron.
yeah,
'Cause and then you go on the back straightaway, and then it's like Texas. You stop mid back straightaway, and then you have to turn left into the
yeah,
infield. But it's only a one car. Only one car can fit between the wall. So I don't get that.
yeah. I never understood that either. It's just, I don't know. To be honest, I don't mind the Charlotte Roval. I think it's decent, but I will tell you that they should add more road courses to this playoff format.
I think they. What about we change Martinsville up? Since they've changed Bristol up, what about we change Martinsville up?
Oh
Make a
God,
short
no.
track.
Oh God,
No,
no.
no, 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 no. Wait, you got to listen to this. But
Yeah,
what about we? You know, Martinsville has that old pit lane on the back straightaway.
yeah, yeah. That's where the
What
safety
about we
cars
make a
are.
little chicane on the back straightaway at Martinsville?
Oh man.
Let's make Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick uh, situations happen more often.
Oh, jeez. We'll get into
That's
that
what
in a moment, actually. But yeah, the Xfinity race was good though. That race actually caused NASCAR to remove all the rumble strips on the backstretch, just about.
Yeah, I saw that, and it
Um,
reminded me of the time when I was at another racetrack, not too far from where I'm located right
mhm,
now, watching cars fly in the air like they were
yeah.
birds. But
Oh man. But yeah.
I'm talking about IMS, but
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But AJ Allmendinger is the winner at the Roval. No surprise, 3 straight wins at that track. He's the Xfinity Road Course king at this point, but that's been known for years. Um, Not much else to say other than Jeb Burton got eliminated. I believe I can't even tell you who got eliminated, but he was the big one that got eliminated, and he's
and not only
you
that,
know,
he got eliminated from his ride going
yeah,
forward. So it's kind of a bummer weekend for him.
yeah,
But
exactly. Just
I'm
kick
pretty
him
sure
while
it's
he's
been
down.
more obvious as time's gone on that he's not going to make it in NASCAR. So he needs to
Yeah,
retire at this point.
exactly. But be
Either that or go
honest.
race for Spire Motorsports, one of the two.
Oh, don't. don't get started on that. They're gonna consider that. I'm sure. Now that you mentioned it,
Yeah, it says
but
Corey LaJoie is probably going to
um,
end up with Penske or something, Xfinity Series. But,
I think
whatever.
LaJoy is confirmed for 2022 so far. So maybe 2023 we're talking.
Yeah, but I can see him going into the Penske organization for some reason. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll see.
Especially with Brad leaving and all that, they're going to want to bring
Yeah,
another veteran in at some point.
exactly. Now on the Cup side, Kyle Larson's the winner, but I think the big thing we gotta address here is Harvick and Elliott number two. Harvick bumped Chase Elliott. If you saw the Twitter replay, it's very clear he throttled up on purpose to run into the back of him. And then on top of it, on Chase Elliott's radio, his crew chief told him, "You need to wreck Kevin Harvick to advance to the next round."
So, all right. So
Let's
I want to say
dive.
something real quick.
Yeah.
In any other motorsport, does this happen without having any penalties for each for
No.
no? This is the only sport they don't get a penalty for wrecking someone. I think it's stupid. I think there needs to be, at least when it comes to the playoffs,
Yeah.
if they're going to have a playoff format, I honestly think it needs to go away like every other NASCAR fan. I think it's the dumbest thing ever created in the history of humankind. But I think there needs to be a penalty assessed to Kevin Harvick for that. Uh,
Yeah.
because you shouldn't be able to just wreck someone like that, especially on a road course. I mean,
Yeah.
on a short track, I get you're gonna bang into someone. When you deliberately wreck someone going into a corner, uh,
Yeah.
on a road course, we should use road course rules and actually have a penalty for that. But
Yeah.
that's my personal opinion.
Not to mention it's a it was a narrow part. Like there's nothing Chase Elliott could have done to
Yeah,
avoid hitting a wall. At least when Ty Gibbs got wrecked by Sam Mayer on Saturday, he had the ability to save it because it wasn't a narrow part of the course. He had grass and he had pavement around him. And to be
yeah,
fair, I agree with you, but I will say in the latter stages, it's more a moral issue than it is an ethical issue to wreck. To wreck at the beginning of the race is uncalled for. Like
yeah,
what Kevin Harvick did. Let me put it this way: if Chase, and I'm wearing a Chase Elliott shirt, so any argument that's being made now is going to be argued by anyone that is watching this video, because of the fact that I'm on Chase Elliott's side with this. But put the shirt aside for a second. Chase Elliott, first off, if he did retaliate on Kevin Harvick, he should have been suspended for the next race. Plain and simple.
obviously.
Because it was put out on the radio that he said he was going to wreck Kevin Harvick when he got up there. And not to
And,
mention,
and,
not
and the
only,
funny thing is, instead
yeah,
he ends up wrecking his teammate. That's the funny
yeah,
thing.
exact.
I feel
But,
bad for Cole Custer more than anybody in this situation. Like,
eh,
honestly.
but, no, so,
But really, how good of a driver is Cole Custer actually? Like, let's be honest here. He's the Clint Boyer 2.0,
he's,
quite
he's a
literally.
Rick
So
Ware driver in the making.
he's literally Ricky Stenhouse, but he
Yeah,
doesn't wreck as much.
yep, exactly. But I was going to make the point here that if this happened, Adam Gustafson should be suspended the rest of the year. If this went through. Because now not only is this playoff implications, but you have radio audio. Not to mention NBC played it twice that they said that they were going to wreck the four when they got up there.
Does this remind you of a situation that happened in the past with another driver who I just named and another driver who's a Hall of Famer?
Hmm.
It happened at Phoenix.
Yeah. Sounds like Clint Boyer, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, you remember that? And
Yeah.
remember when Gustafson went on the radio and said wreck the 15? Remember that?
I remember that. Someone needs
This,
to tell Gustafson to chill out.
yeah. So maybe we should look into that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the first time he's done that.
But Also this week, NASCAR president, I believe Scott Miller is his name.
Yeah.
So he was on Sirius XM this morning. He had said he has talked to Kevin Harvick. Now, I'm not a fly on the wall in the meeting, but we all know what was discussed in this meeting. It was, without question, based on history. You look at Kyle Busch, Ron Hornaday. You look at Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano a few years ago. There's one thing that was said in that meeting, and I guarantee you I know what it was. You ready for it?
Yeah.
You wreck Chase Elliott going forward, you're done for the season. Okay? He's in the playoffs, you're not. You wreck him, you're done. Guarantee you that was the discussion, and then he hung up the phone right then and there.
I would be surprised. Honestly, regardless, I think that's stupid. If I was Chase Elliott, I'd be kind of frustrated on that because Kevin Harvick quite literally ended his season.
Almost ended his season.
Well, yeah, kind of almost.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
See, that's the problem is, to be fair, Kevin Harvick started this incident at Bristol, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, because he drifted up the track. Now, granted, he might have gotten loose, because let's face it, Bristol, when you're running tight together, it gets very loose.
Yeah.
But Chase didn't do anything wrong after that. He helped a teammate. I've said before on another network that it is totally okay to help your teammate out. Okay? That's the way F1 works. That's the way IndyCar works. You watch any form of motorsports, teammates work together to help the other one win if they can't win themselves. Okay?
Yep.
So NASCAR is just as much a team sport as any other sport in this in the industry generally. What Kevin Harvick did was he said, I don't care what Chase Elliott had to say. I'm taking matters into my own hands. And that was not right. Okay, now if Chase Elliott didn't advance, Kevin Harvick should have been at least fined for what happened.
Right.
But I think punishment enough was he didn't advance.
I think Mr. Tony should sit down with Mr. Harvick and have a conversation about how he ended up getting his own teammate in the wreck. So
yeah, exactly.
Chase Elliott was trying to swerve down to wreck Kevin Harvick, but Kevin Harvick should have thought about that.
I guarantee you, though, if he made the corner, based on how I saw Chase Elliott enter that corner, he was going to commit murder on him in turn one. And that should have been a suspension for the year, because you don't commit murder on someone.
If I was Chase Elliott, you know what I would have done?
What's that?
Since my car was already toasted anyway, I would have just tried to get all the way down to the chicane down there and do a little bounceroo across the rumble strips down there that are still the ones that are still down there that haven't been taken out yet, and just wreck right into Kevin Harvick. That's what I would have done.
Oh God! Oh my gosh!
So that way I can get a little airtime while doing that too. Both on the airways and quite literally. But
glad to see we've gone Rocket League here. In a way,
it's the Charlotte Roval. It doesn't get more Rocket League than that.
True. Road course races in general this year have gone Rocket League, with the exception of Sonoma and the Glen.
And that's the one reason Sonoma is because it's a terrible road course and needs to be off the NASCAR schedule. Yeah. But
instead we add it to the truck schedule.
No, we just take it off NASCAR schedule in general. Because any track that you race on the drag strip, you should not be racing. But it's whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get on to some silly season news now. Jack Harvey. Now I think we all knew he was going to Rahal Letterman Lanigan. We all thought I think you and I thought it was going to be the 30. Can we agree on that? We thought it was going to be the 30. Well, Rahal Letterman Lanigan had another idea in mind, and he is taking the number 45 with Harvey backing for 2022. This is a ride I thought for sure Christian Lundgaard Ferrucci or Askew, with Askew being the least likely to get it. I figured that was going to be the order of who was going to get the 45. Zach, what are your thoughts here about Harvey?
I think it's going to be weird seeing Jack Harvey driving a 45 car going around. I felt like that was Ferrucci's number, but
Yeah.
it's whatever. Somebody like Ferrucci's just kind of, I don't know. He's kind of like example, somebody like Eric Jones or
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Matt Benedetto. He's kind of not that good, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, but yeah, I don't know. He's never gonna get a chance to prove himself because
But let's be fair,
he doesn't have the funding.
he's kind of got the talent of who you just mentioned, and on top of it, he's got the situation of Kyle Larson.
Yeah,
Because keep in mind, if you know anything about his Formula One race to the top, it didn't go well. I believe he got accused of being a racist for wrecking his teammate.
I think it's because he didn't really want to be in Formula One. I think that's the reason why.
And he also got political, by the way, in Formula One. He tried to race a Trump car, and F1 wouldn't allow it. Of course, this is not a political show. I won't dive into that, but I will a little bit. Politics don't belong on race cars, but hey, I mean, either
Just like
party.
smoking shouldn't be on race cars, and I mean, alcohol shouldn't be on race cars. But that's besides the point, especially in like NASCAR, at least, in my opinion.
Okay.
How many kids watch it?
We're about on the same page with that then. But Ferrucci, I thought had this ride. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, top 10 finishes in all but one race that he ran. And on top of it, he was outperforming his equipment in some cases. He did something in a one-off that you couldn't get from other drivers.
Yep. And he proved last year, multiple races during IndyCar season, that he deserved to be in a ride like that. So, full time. But it's whatever. I hope maybe Rick Rare will get the phone up, call him up, and see if he wants to come over and drive that 51 car next year. See if he can do the same thing Grosjean did.
Some tells me his son's going to be the full-time guy in that ride.
And what?
Cody Weeb is going to be the full-time guy, I think, in that 51 now. Because the latest news this wasn't actually planned to be on the show. The latest news out of Rick Ware Racing is that Matt DiBenedetto and Ryan Newman are being considered for the 51 and the 52 next year. But
maybe Ryan Newman can make a IndyCar, Indy 500, Indy 500 debut, maybe.
We'll see. I mean,
he is from Indiana. It wouldn't surprise me.
I will say, though, that now Ferrucci's chances of being in the series have basically just been dismantled because there's no way Penske's signing him to drive the 22. There's zero shot of that happening.
I don't think anybody's going to be driving the 22 next year, personally.
I think if they do, it's going to be a one-off, and Kyle Larson's going to be on the radar for that.
Right.
And then, let's face it, Andretti at this point, if they don't keep Kyle Kirkwood, then I don't know what they're thinking. But he's going to be in a fourth Andretti car, whether it's full-time or part-time. And then Malukas is probably going to end up somewhere. Connor Daly still has Air Force. We can go on and on about
He's going to be in 5 different cars throughout the season because, he can't be in a full-time ride somewhere.
Yep.
It's whatever.
But, we'll see what happens. Maybe Ferrucci ends up in Xfinity or Trucks next year running.
Hopefully he gets a full-time ride wherever he goes.
Yeah, I hope it's not NASCAR because I think he'd do better in IndyCar, but, again, so many changes might happen on the Toyota side for NASCAR, too, that could benefit him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jeb Burton is out of a ride again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he's done.
Let's be fair though. The first time he lost his ride when Estes left him, that was BS. Estes kind of screwed him out of that. But ever since, it seems like everybody wants to make up for it, and then when they do, he really doesn't perform well. It's, to be honest, he really didn't fit the Kaulig scheme there of we want winners.
Yeah. I don't know. I think his career is looking like the man that was driving
Yeah.
the number one car. But, at least he
Yeah.
doesn't have an injury like him, but it's whatever.
Yeah. But let's be fair. I mean, Michael Annett had career-long sponsorship from Flying J.
Yeah.
Whereas Jeb Burton kind of inherited Nutrien Solutions. And Nutrien can only Nutrien's leaving the team, so that probably was the final straw as far as why Jeb's
That'll
not
be
back
weird
there.
not seeing those colors around the track, but
Yeah. I'll tell you though, what I think's going to happen now is that 10 car is going to become the AllStar Car for Kaulig. I think Ross Chastain, Justin Haley are going to split the season in that car. And then whatever races they can't make is where Kaz Grala's going to drive.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Natalie Decker makes a little gets a ride or something with a bigger team, because you know who she's been hanging out with in a lot of her videos?
Who's this?
Grala.
Oh boy.
Every single video
Yeah.
recently, I feel like he's in it. So I wonder what's
Yeah.
going on right there with that. I don't know.
We'll see. Something's
Maybe
boiling.
maybe Derek's gonna get an opportunity.
Oh
See
boy.
that she was being a team owner this past week in the Oktoberfest over in La Crosse Speedway. She owned Derek's car, and Derek went and got P3. So
Oh boy.
congrats to him
Yeah,
after not
congrats.
racing for like 4 or 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, congrats to him, honestly. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. Maybe Kaulig goes down to 2 cars, but honestly, I see this being an all-star car. Possibly, like I said, I think it's going to be Chastain and Justin Haley. They're going to split the season at the races where they don't conflict, like the races where they're eligible to run. And then the
Yeah.
races the Cup guys can't run. Maybe it's Kaz Grala. Maybe it's Myatt Snyder. Who knows? But someone's going to be in that ride for the rest of those races, like the 8 races at the end of the year, and then the 4 Dash for Cash races.
Yeah.
So, without a doubt, though, Haley will run the super speedways for him. That's a guarantee. He's basically their best super speedway guy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I guess on to the predictions here for the worst mile and a half in the history of mile and a halves, as I mentioned at the top of the show. NASCAR's running at Texas this weekend, for those that don't know.
Get ready for the PJ1
Yep, let's
on steroids.
Yep, let's douse the whole track in PJ1.
Watch, they'll actually they'll probably fill in the first lane with it now too.
Yeah, and then there won't be any lane to drive.
You may have to go all the way down to the apron before you won't see any PJ1.
Yep, and then they'll douse the apron in PJ1.
And then they'll do that on the they're kind of already do that on the pit road, but it's whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get on with the Xfinity at Texas here. Zach, who you taking?
I'm just gonna go with Justin Haley. I don't know who else to go with. So
yeah, well, I'm gonna go with Justin Allgaier here. He's been having himself a good run this year. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe he is the guy this year. I don't know. I mean, it's been the Cindric and Allmendinger show, kind of like last year in the Cup Series where we saw the Harvick and Hamlin show every week. and someone's going to flinch very soon. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Someone's going to flinch soon, and someone's going to lose their spot in the next round. And more than likely, I think it's going to be Cindric. But we'll see. I think Allgaier, like Hamlin, has deserved a championship for so long. So,
And, well, Denny Hamlin never deserves anything. He's too much of a whiner to get anything.
true. Very true. But anyway, on to the Cup Series. Who do you got here?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with Brad Keselowski this weekend. I don't know.
It's an interesting pick. He's been good at Texas in the past.
I remember when he was racing a 12 car. I don't know how many wins he got in the 12, but he won. He got a couple.
Yeah.
I remember properly.
I don't know. See, to me, it seems like Toyota owns this track in Texas. I don't know. So I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's won the last 2 rounds in the opener. So some tells me he's going to complete the trifecta in that regard. Hamlin's catching fire late. Maybe it has something to do with his girlfriend tweeting about all the hookers he picked up.
He has a lot of I don't know how to explain it. He thinks it looks good on him to have as many women he's hooked up with.
Let's be fair. The story's not confirmed, but there's got to be some truth to it.
There's got to be, especially when she's the mother of his kids. So, for anything, I feel bad for his kids.
I want to see the full report before I make any further comments on this, just because I want to see if it's true. Because there's always 2 sides to a story.
Yeah, but I believe her because he's too much of a whiner.
Yeah. More than likely, I'll believe her. Anyway, that's all we got this week. Zach, thank you for joining us. I assume, speaking of 2 sides to every story, maybe this is something you'll be talking about Friday night with regards to some football coaches.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about John Gruden. That's definitely going to happen.
Wow,
we'll see if he's still coach. There's there's some stuff coming out just within the last 10 minutes or so that
it's not
another email
good.
came out. Another email. And he called someone another word. So I don't know how much longer the NFL is going to allow him to be a coach. So
yeah, exactly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And of course, again, tune in Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Zach will be back. And I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff coming up. I believe I heard Coach K discussion this week.
I did that last week, but I'll probably go more in depth this week. I already said who I think is going to replace him. It's a familiar name, but it's someone who is out there, somebody that no one's really talking about. So, and no one should be talking about, but I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. Tune in Friday at 8 to find out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you back here Sunday morning at 9 a.m. But until then, guys, and Zach, thanks for joining us, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, until then, goodbye, everyone.